We're going to start off with the Epstein stuff, and then we'll talk about the Golden Arches and the Golden Age. Olivia Reingold is back at it with no shame, all this good stuff. And no, my mouse suit hasn't arrived yet. I'm going to get it tomorrow in Shenzhen.
Capitol Hill for the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse. The House and the Senate passed a bill to force the Justice Department to release its files on him. Now, this comes after months of opposition from the president and the GOP leadership, and after years and years of lobbying from Epstein's accusers. Some of them held a very emotional news conference outside the Capitol before the vote. Caitlin Huey Burns is on Capitol Hill with the latest. Caitlin, good morning. It was quite a day yesterday.
Oh, good morning, Gail. Well, this is something we hardly ever see up here on Capitol Hill. Nearly every member of Congress agreed to support a measure that Republican leadership never wanted to take up in the first place. And it was an emotional scene for survivors of Epstein's abuse who were inside the House chamber to witness a vote months in the making.
In the House, it was nearly unanimous. By a 427-to-1 vote, lawmakers approved a measure requiring the Justice Department to release its files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, all while survivors of his abuse looked on. We did it! And just hours later, it sailed through the Senate without objection.
The Senate has now passed the Epstein bill.
The moment marked the end of months-long drama on Capitol Hill.
We've registered our concerns. We stated our opposition as long as possible, but we're also for maximum transparency.
Now, Trump has said he would sign the bill, but he's called the Epstein controversy a distraction.
You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax.
The House Oversight Committee has separately released troves of documents from the Epstein estate, which include an email from 2019 where Epstein wrote that Trump knew about the girls, a claim Trump has denied repeatedly. Kentucky Republican Thomas Massie led the bipartisan effort to force the House vote.
Are you concerned that the president may not release everything, even if this is signed into law?
Well, it's not up to him. Like the FBI director, the DOJ, Pam Bondi, they would be criminally liable. This is why we climbed the steep hill, which is to get the bill passed in the House, the Senate, and to present it to the president for his signature so that it would have the force of law.
The survivors at the heart of this case say their push for transparency is nonpartisan.
Well, we are grateful for our allies in Congress on both sides. We've realized something. This fight belongs to us.
Now, the Justice Department, once this is signed into law, has 30 days to make these files public. But the president has asked the DOJ to investigate potential ties between some high-profile Democrats and Epstein, which some lawmakers fear could potentially limit what is released. Gail?
Caitlin, thank you very much.
Well, we're going to begin this hour with the congressional vote to force the release of government files on the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. That vote almost unanimous despite months of opposition by many Republicans, among them President Trump. The bill now heads to President Trump's desk. For more on this, how it happened and how it went down, we're joined by our chief Washington analyst, Robert Costa. Bob, good morning. Thank you for being here. When you think about the campaign and then the White House, President Trump was in favor of releasing the files, then he appeared to be against it, called it a Democratic hoax. Where's his head now? What are you hearing from inside the White House about how he's reacting to all this?
Good to be with you, Tony. Based on my conversations with people close to President Trump and in a visit to Capitol Hill, it's evident everyone in this administration and Republicans in Congress, they want to move on. Now, there are Republicans like Congressman Thomas Massie, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who want to keep digging into this. But for Republicans, they're feeling a bit of alarm, not so much about the Epstein files, but about not talking about the economy enough ahead of the midterm elections next year.
So this apparent split within MAGA world, what impact do you think this could have, or lingering impact politically on the president?
It's lingering because this is now going to lead to document after document potentially being released. And the administration will get scrutiny about whether there's enough out there about Ghislaine Maxwell and so many other characters that are related to this case in some way. So the questions will continue. Lawmakers expect that inside the Republican Party. At the same time, they feel like they can try to move on now that this has been addressed legislatively.
You know, Bob, some lawmakers have expressed concern that this document release will not be all that revealing because the White House will be able to redact or withhold some material saying there are ongoing investigations. What are you hearing on that front?
What I'm hearing is so many Democrats, should the House Democrats win power in 2026, are going to come back to this issue in 2027, 2028, should they win power in the midterm elections, because there's a real belief among Democrats on Capitol Hill that this Justice Department is too close to President Trump and just won't do enough in terms of disclosure. Republicans have faith in the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, but even some of them privately say this DOJ so close to the president, and they do wonder about the extent of what will be released.
Bob, thank you very much.
Well, the Crown Prince has long been isolated, but President Trump is welcoming him here with open arms, even praising his human.
They didn't do it under Biden. Be for f***ing real. Julie K. Brown's take on this is actually interesting. At first, I didn't understand it, but Julie K. Brown was saying that the reason why, I think it's a bit cope, but she was saying that, like, the reason why this wasn't as big as an issue in terms of, like, the files being released is because no one made a big fuss about it, for sure. But also, under the Biden administration, Ghislaine Maxwell was actually being investigated. Quick clip of your fadeaway. Oh, let's go. See, this is what I'm talking about. Give me something good. Just one brief moment of goodness.
All right.
That's what I'm talking about. There you go. Please don't be bait. No, it wasn't bait. It's real. Is this AI? Yeah. Bro, Bro got slippery hands. No knee bands, more power. No knee bands is worse. Ghislaine was found guilty in January 2022. It's major cope to cover up for feckless Democrats. No, I agree. I think Democrats could have sincerely talked about this stuff leading up to the election. I talked about this stuff leading up to the election. I kept repeating that, like, Donald Trump is actually linked to Jeffrey Epstein. If you remember, the Michael Wolff stuff came out right before the election, and the Democrats, not even for a brief moment, utilized it. And I think the reason why they did not, utilize it was because of Bill Clinton. They were too busy having Bill Clinton endorse the party to go to Dearborn, Michigan, and talk about how, the historic Palestinian areas are actually technically Judea and Samaria. Okay? I think it's also partially because the Democrats are also directly connected to Israel. It's obvious that with the exception of a couple naysayers, a couple spoilers, a couple loudmouths, specifically on the Republican side, where there's even more impact, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I hate to give them credit for this because their ambitions are probably not so clean, but Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, with the exception of a couple Republicans, like and a couple Democrats, most people don't want to touch it. Democrats don't want to touch Israel. Jeffrey Epstein is also connected to not only Israel, but also connected to a lot of incredibly powerful donors. Part of the reason why I always say I don't think we're going to actually see the full thing is for that reason. I don't think we'll ever see how deep that well goes. Carl says the files were cleaned because of Trump. I can totally see that happening. I believe it. Thomas Massie says on the floor of Congress, I just spoke on the floor before the imminent House vote on the release of the Epstein files. We must deliver justice for the victims.
He's trying to categorize the pedophiles as victims. He's saying, we don't embarrass the people that went to the rape island. We should protect those names against unreliable accusations. Is he calling all of these victims unreliable? They've testified to the FBI. The FBI has these names in their possession. I asked the FBI director in a hearing, have you looked at the documents? No, he trusts everybody that's been there for decades. That is wrong. Do not let the Senate muck this bill up. And if you're a party to that in the Senate, you are part of this cover-up that we are trying to expose. I am sorry if one of your billionaire donors is going to get embarrassed because he went to Rape Island. That is what they have coming. In fact, they need to be on the other side of bars, a lot of them. Some of them will be embarrassed, but some of them need to go to prison, and the survivors know that. So how will we know if this bill has been successful? We will know when there are men, rich men, in handcuffs being perp-walked to the jail. And until then, this is still a cover-up. I urge my Senate colleagues, do not muck up this bill. The president has already said he will sign it. That means he will sign the bill that we have here today. Do not change this bill. He is ready to sign it. Give it to him. Put it on his desk. Let's get justice for these victims. With that, I reserve.
I think Thomas Massie, despite his freakish ways, being a Republican, like despite, his freak ass attitudes on other shit, on this issue and on Israel related issues, unironically is one of the best congresspersons. I don't know how, I don't know why. I don't, it's confusing. Like, if you ask Thomas Massie on other shit, trust me, he's crazy. Guns, gender, whatever, right? Wait, what's his opinion on the Palestine issue? Thomas Massie is one of the most aggressive anti-Israel voices in Congress and has been so consistently. So much so that he's almost, I would say he's like one of the leading voices on this. All right, let's see. My goat, my car guy. Thomas Massie is white Palestinian. Wait, what? No, that's Amash. And Thomas Massie has been Justin Amash was a libertarian Republican congressperson who is actually a Christian Palestinian. And even he wasn't as aggro on Palestine as Thomas Massie has been.
Even in that case, I regret to inform you, you're not going to get to see the full unredacted Epstein files. It's not going to happen. And here's why. We already know there was a DOJ whistleblower who came out and said, and James O'Keefe has the literal video of it, they said, look, we're purging all of the stuff about Trump and Republicans from the Epstein files and leaving in the stuff about liberals and Democrats. And so they're cleaning up those files. Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, came out yesterday and said they're cleaning the files. They're purging all the stuff of Trump and Republicans out of there. Even in that case, I regret to inform you, you're not going to get to see the full unredacted Epstein files. It's not going to happen. And here's why. We already know there was a DOJ whistleblower who came out and said, and James O'Keefe has the literal video of it, they said, look, we're purging all of the stuff about Trump and Republicans from the Epstein files and leaving in the stuff about liberals and Democrats. And so they're cleaning up those files. Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, came out yesterday and said they're cleaning the files. They're purging all the stuff of Trump and Republicans out of there.
Okay, but why are we trusting James O'Keefe? Yeah, I don't know if James O'Keefe is a reliable narrator here, but I think it's just mostly, oh my God, so who said Naruto? Stop. Don't do that. That's crazy. Oh my God. He will be Hokage one day. Believe it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no. Uzumaki looking ass. Oh, Jesus Christ. I can't unsee it now. He's about to Nanda Tebayo his way out of here, okay? Itadakimasu. He's literally doing it. Itadakimasu. We're about the shadow clone jutsu. Oh, no. I paused him because he's about to shadow clone. I don't want you seeing him shadow clone, you know? All right, today I'm going to be trying out Chongqing Southwest University TCO. Okay? Another fan gift. Someone said there's no tobacco products allowed in Hong Kong. Ooh. Smells pretty good. Kyle is going to love this. Kyle is the go with absolutely no drip. Yeah, only cigarettes allowed. Wait, Hong Kong is just... Ooh, I might have put too much in here. Yeah, apparently they have crazy bureaucracy. So they banned all tobacco. So it's not a problem if we have cigarettes in our bags going into Hong Kong. Here it is. I'm asking because Austin has like 1 million cigarette packs in his bag and in his pockets. So it would be very funny if he got stopped by Hong Kong police because he doesn't even smoke, but it would be quite funny. Okay. You already know. Performative. I'm on my performative shit. There it is. Got my hourglass here. Plant your Zins in his case? No, Zins are fine. You can travel anywhere the you want to with the Zins. Zins are not a tobacco product. It's a nicotine product. I am a performative tea drinker, as you guys know. I do not have a tea pet. Do you like the one-party system of China? Do you prefer democracy with multiple parties? I don't care however people get infrastructure. That's what I care. Hey, Hassan, random tip. Next time you're in the train in China, through the China Rail app, you can order food for the next stop, and it gets delivered to your seat. Try it out. It was the most insane thing when I was there. I know. I did it. It was awesome. Seeing you in China got me on a oolong tea kick. Hadn't had it since I was there in 06. Forgot how good it was. As a tea connoisseur myself, it's nice to see you truly embracing tea culture. I need a tea pet. Until I have a tea pet, I'm not actually fully embracing tea culture. Feel me? Don't forget to wash the tea, dude. Wait, what? You cannot bring Zin into Hong Kong. Only 19 cigarettes can be imported into Hong Kong. Zins cannot be brought into Hong Kong since they're nicotine products. It's crazy. You got to wash the tea, fam. I didn't wash this tea. I just dumped it. Make up your mind. Is it nicotine products or tobacco products? I don't know what the fuck these guys are saying, but I think it's probably fine. Okay. With high quality, you don't need to wash. Well, this seems to be high quality, so I did not wash it. Anyway, where was I? We're talking about Epstein. Here's Pam Bondi. Now, remember, with the Epstein files, like, and releasing the Epstein files, like, it doesn't need to go through this process. Donald Trump could personally demand the release of the Epstein files, and the DOJ would release them, right? So the very fact that there's even this back and forth, there's this whole, like, getting the government to force Trump's hand to release the Epstein files, like, all of this stuff is kind of bullshit. What are you loading up to take home? So many like Chinese trinkets, different copies of the Red Book, both in Mandarin and also in English, cool artifacts, clothing. We've bought a lot of, we went and we shopped a lot of Chinese stores. Obviously the shopping is coming to an end as far as Chinese brands goes, because we're going to Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is not very, I think Hong Kong is like very Western. So it'll be like it's going to be like, it's very different is what I've heard. So colonial British looting of artifacts. Yes. Hong Kong is like neoliberalism personified, from what I understand. They say it's basically the UK. Bruh Kong. Hong Kong is also incredibly expensive. Also, you guys are talking about importing shit. If I flew into Hong Kong with the amount of zins I had, maybe they would have considered that importing. But at this point, I have like a couple pouches left. So I don't think they're gonna stop me at the Hong Kong customs to be like, you're importing illegal, like the alternative nicotine products are like they're not alternative smoking products, chatter. Okay? Like they're talking about vapes, dummy, and they're talking about vapes in like large quantities. Zyn is a nicotine product. It's not a tobacco product. And it's also not even also, one of the things that I found out is that for example, they have rules around what kind of electronic equipment you can bring, right, onto the flight. Except if they don't know what it is, they just let it slide. Like, I have travel safe batteries, but they don't know what those travel safe batteries are even. They don't even see it as a battery. So they don't even search it. Like, they took all of everyone's like personal chargers, like their phone chargers and shit, but they didn't touch any of our big chargers, like the LiveU battery packs. And I think it was because they just didn't know what it is. I brought a lot of snus into Hong Kong without a problem. No, snus is not allowed in Hong Kong because it is prohibited as a form of smokeless tobacco. I'm going to lose my mind. First of all, people probably brought their own snus into Hong Kong. But that's not even the point. Because I'm not even bringing... I don't have snus. Zyn is not a tobacco alternative. Zyn has no tobacco in it. I don't know why you guys are debating me on this. We'll find out. And now they're posting nicotine is a part 1 poison under cap 138, and part 1 poison can only be sold at a pharmacy under... I just sprayed myself with this granulated sugar. God damn it. This compound sugar. Fuck. Look at this. This thing exploded on me. Look. Oh, I just accidentally smacked myself in the balls. Oh no. Oh my God. Oh, that hurts bad. Oh, I flicked my nut. I just gave myself the worst nut tap, dude. Fuck me. Right nut. You're dramatic as... I was literally smacking the clothes to get the granulated, or not the granulated, the compound sugar off. Ugh. Okay. Why is this thing... Bro, the guy I get my news from just nut tapped himself. I'm so cooked. Yes, you are cooked. It's true. You are cooked. You get your news from this guy. You get your news from a guy who just nut tapped himself. That's how stupid I am. So what does that say about your level of intelligence? God damn. Why do you talk like that? Talk like what? Anyway, let's get to the Pam Bondi situation. Like I was saying, if these guys had any real ambition of releasing the Epstein files without any friction whatsoever, they could have done so at any given moment. Trump alluded to it before, but then acted as though that was not going to be the case. Yeah, he could just do it. He could literally just do it at any point. And the fact that he's not doing that, and he had to be convinced or he had to be pushed into doing that, means that there is definitely going to be some involved, and I don't trust the Department of Justice. Your Zyn addiction is ripping this family apart. Everyone is scared of what will happen when something comes between you and the Zyns. True. Don't come for me. I haven't talked about Chiose challenging HasanAbi head Chi challenging Hakeem Jeffries as a primary challenge, and Zoran and AOC's takes on it so far, but I will, obviously. I'm super familiar with the situation there.
General, do you mean that you will provide all the files by 30 days?
We will follow the law. The law passed both chambers last evening. It has not yet been signed, but we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
Madam Attorney General, the DOJ statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information that new information, additional information, and
oh my God, bro, they are so bad. They're so bad, but also they're not even trying. Support, bro. You're not a politician with a coalition building obligation. She would be great for Jeffrey's district. Wait, what? Of course I support Chi. What are you talking about? What? Do you think I'm going to be against him trying to primary Hakeem Jeffries? What the I didn't even say nothing. Why did you just assume that? Anyway, yeah, when they say new information came out, what they actually mean, and I'll translate it for you, is Donald Trump has given the A-OK. Donald Trump has given the A-OK. And for the record, I was listening to some news coverage on this issue this morning before I went online. And what's really funny about it is that some Republicans are just straightforward. They straight up said, yeah, I was against it. Now Trump wants it out, so I'm for it. Like there are Republican politicians out there who openly will admit to your face that they initially opposed the release of the Epstein files and now are for it, or at least whatever version will be released, is just, oh my God, Jesus Christ. It's just Donald Trump. Was Biden able to release the Epstein files while he was in office? Yes. There was plenty of time for him to release the Epstein files. In the aftermath of the Ghislaine Maxwell investigation's conclusion, after the court proceedings, he could have just dumped all of it. They didn't do it. They didn't even use it as an attack line against Donald Trump, in spite of the new information that had come out from Michael Wolff's reporting, literally right up to the election. Michael Wolff did some coverage on this stuff and reported that Jeffrey Epstein was actually super connected to Donald Trump far after we had previously thought their connection had ended, where Donald Trump had claimed that he had severed ties with Jeffrey Epstein. And the thing is, they didn't do it. They didn't even use it as a talking point. They actually never brought up Jeffrey Epstein. If you recall my conversations at the time, my analysis at the time, I kept saying, why the aren't the Democrats using this as an attack line? But of course, I knew why they weren't using it as an attack line. If you remember my analysis back then, I told you it was because there are far too many Democratic big ticket party donors, and also many prominent Democratic politicians like Bill Clinton that are directly involved with Jeffrey Epstein in the same exact meaningful ways that Donald Trump is involved with Jeffrey Epstein, perhaps even worse than Donald Trump's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. And also, Jeffrey Epstein is an asset for the state of Israel, and Democrats are also uniparty on defending Israel. So these are the reasons why they never used it. So yes, it is copium to a certain degree to say that the Biden administration had no way of releasing the files. I guess at most you could just say, why didn't the Democrats make a bigger fuss about this? Or I guess the only line of defense is that, well, people weren't making a big deal about the Jeffrey Epstein stuff when Democrats were in charge. And there's some truth to that. And I think that's part of the reason why there's some truth to that. And I think part of the reason why there's some truth to that is because Democrats just did not want to make a big deal about it. They do now because Donald Trump is president. They do now because Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, and some other Republicans are also making a big fuss about not just Israel necessarily, but Jeffrey Epstein as well. So, yeah, I think it was Byron. Byron Donalds is straight up. Here, look. Dude, I love how fraudulent these stupid are. God damn it, dude. Look at our politicians, dog. What are we doing? Ugh. Prem Tucker, friend of the show of Zateo News, went up to congressional Republicans to press them on calling the effort to release the Epstein files a hoax, and then today, with Trump's permission, voting to release them.
Yeah, what do you make of the vote to release the Epstein files today?
We got it done. Now wait till you see all the dishonest media and everybody out there when Trump's not in it. What are they going to do?
I cannot begin to explain to you how open these guys are about their lack of interest in what happens to you. Okay? Like, they do not have a sincere bone in their bodies, man. They are like, oh, they're so insincere. They're such grifters. Even something like this and the hand ringing that has taken place to get this information out there. Like, I'm telling you, man, these are lizard people. If you are wondering why it takes a year to fix a pothole in your city, it's because the American government is broken. Every institution is primarily compromised and primarily have people like this all the way down to the local positions. It's just all ambitious lizard people. Whether it be Jeffrey Epstein, whether it be only offering infrastructure contracts to like their nephews and their friends in a quid pro quo style situation. I'm just saying, generally, this inconsistency that you're going to hear from this dipshit is demonstrated in every aspect of American governance, okay?
What are they going to do? They're going to be whining and complaining about something. They're going to be sitting there conspiring now to figure out, well, if we get the House back, how are we going to impeach the man? What are we going to have to come up with something else?
You
previously
say
the records were destroyed. They destroyed the records. And they're going to come up with something.
You previously said that you wanted to vote no on the Epstein hoax, and then you flipped.
Oh, we all did it. President Trump wants it because it's going to exonerate. It's going to clear him.
Yeah.
So I think he's put this back on the Democrats now. You know, but you know what? If Trump was in it, Joe Biden would have went after him. He'd have indicted him on something, but he didn't do it because there's nothing there. It's the Trump hoax.
What do you make of Trump being mentioned in the latest Trove Epstein files more than anyone else?
There's 65,000 pages. Obviously, Epstein did not like Trump too much. He's pretty much in bed with these others. Summers, he's in bed with Clinton. Now, why did Bill and Hillary not want to come up, and we subpoenaed them, not want to come up and testify? Why not? It's a big cover-up. You know what's so interesting about it? It's all the Democrats. The Democrats that are tied to Larry Epstein. To Epstein. It's Epstein. The Democrats. It's not Donald Trump. And you guys keep spinning this.
Bro, he ain't even trying. He ain't even good at repeating the talking points. Like, this is half-hearted, you know? Come on, Donald Trump said it's fine. You guys are going to really get owned when you find out that Donald is not even a part of it. Why does this guy look like a baby who is old? Can someone explain to me what's going on with the way this looks? Like, why does he look like an old baby? I've never seen someone look like this before. You should not look like this. Yeah, this is what Boss Baby would look like if you filtered it with like the hyper realistic filter, like an AI hyper realism filter. This is what Boss Baby would look like. I am an old baby and your rhetoric is deeply offensive. Well, you kind of deserve it. Reverse Boss Baby. He just looks like a baby, but also old. Anyway.
Why do you do that? I said last night to CNN, I said, you guys owe him an apology. You're going to owe Donald Trump an apology for what you guys have done. I put out a post about the Epstein files. I got 12 million.
I thought Maxwell's case was in open appeals until October of this year, until SCOTUS denied her appeal. Is that not why the files could not be released? I mean, look, dude, if there's a will, there's a way, baby. You feel me? Sure. I guess maybe that's the legal reason. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But what I do know is, especially after this Trump administration, this tenure, you can just kind of do whatever you want if you are the president. Okay? You can kind of do whatever you want if you're the president. Joe Biden, of course, did not want to do anything.
12 million views. And when you go through the thousands of comments, you know, there are a lot of nut jobs in this country, quite honestly, but they're all calling Donald Trump a pedophile. There's no evidence out there that's going to say Donald Trump was a pedophile. If Donald Trump was a pedophile, he'd have been indicted for something. And previous administrations that despise him.
He said, the Epstein angle was the one I expected. If Donald Trump was around with young girls, he probably would have been arrested, right? Just like my favorite rapper, Drake. He hit the Drake defense. If Donald Trump was a pedophile, he would have been indicted. Oh, really? The quick reversal after that statement is, okay, do you think Bill Clinton is a pedophile? He's unindicted. Because these guys who are complaining that people are calling Donald Trump a pedophile have been calling every Democrat not just a pedophile, but like a vampire pedophile. You know? Too famous for the shit you suggested. Yep. Pretty good tea, by the way. Kind of almost tastes like Fruit Loops. The Chongqing Southwest University Tea Co. Logs, please. Honestly, maybe half copium, but I am willing to bet they will release the files after heavy modifications, but due to the incompetence, they will include something that will incriminate Donnie. Oh, I totally can see that. Yes. I can absolutely see that. The incompetence aspect, I mean. I think that they will release like the most redacted files of all time, but considering how this administration has prioritized loyalty over competence, every step of the way, they've actually ended up stepping on rakes, and they will probably do so in this as well. I've been saying that.
Like Joe Biden, all of them, they didn't do anything. They have nothing. Matter of fact, if Kamala Harris would be president today,
Kamala Harris
wouldn't be talking about that Epstein. We won't be talking about Epstein.
What do you make of Donald Trump's birthday note to Jeffrey Epstein?
Donald
that was
Trump
very friendly
is the
and seemed
greatest
to
thing
suggest.
since sliced bread. And
These are the guys who also sincerely say that there's too much leadership praise in places like North Korea or even China, right? And it's like, brother, you're a whole ass adult. You know how corrupt the administration is. You're a part of the corruption. And you can just sit there and say that out loud. It blows my fucking mind. He said, okay, dick riding needs to stop. Okay, I just want to start there. Someone give me the Van Lathan quote. The one that goes viral every now and then. About dick riding. Because this level of dick eating needs to stop. Okay? We have to stop it. We have to stop it. This is too much dick riding. It is causing society to collapse. He is doing tricks on it. I mean, Donald Trump is the greatest No, not this, bro. Come on. No, the video. This one.
They're going to be two guys sitting on a rock, and they're going to be looking out at the cityscape of Los Angeles or Miami. It's going to be all ruins. And they're going to say, damn, we used to have an amazing civilization. I read about it in some of these books that's left over. I said, for real? Like, yeah, man, things were great. We had all kinds of stuff. We had people bring you food to your house whenever you wanted. We had, like, go to a place, tip somebody, they dance for you. You have a great time. And so, what happened to it? What?
You're literally the most embarrassing person I think I've ever seen. Gay. Brother. No. Don't ban him. Don't ban him. Don't ban him. Come on. Brother. Maybe under different circumstances. Maybe if you were in here, perhaps 10 minutes ago, when I actually sack-tapped my own damn self as I was trying to pat off the granulated sugar off of my clothes and accidentally destroyed my chances of building a future generation. Maybe if you had come in then at that moment and said that, the rest of the chat would agree with you. They would laugh in unison. But the very fact that you came in to be like, you're the most embarrassing person I think I've ever seen and gay during this sequence. I mean, that's the most inopportune time to say this, brother. Look at the screen. You got you're so easy to rage bait. I'm not even raging. I'm making a joke, chatter. I'm just saying timing is bad. Your timing is off. Unless you are a rewind chatter. The word rage bait is a new troll overused word. Yeah, I know, but that's barely eating the bait. I mean, look at your screen. Look at the people that you're defending. You know what I mean? What the access denied? What do you mean access denied? Yeah, banning admits defeat. You're so easy to rage bait. I just watch Pegasus, but I know you will never watch his videos. I mean, I know you do. Wait, what? Yeah, banning admits defeat. Oh, God. People that say banning admits defeat are some of the lowest version of human on the planet. First of all, one of my mods clapped you because you're one of my mods instantly clapped you. I unbanned you. Okay? And I'm glad I did. Because you just came into a political commentary stream to be like, hey, you're too afraid of watching my favorite slop tuber who has made 700 videos of you because whenever rent is due, he wants to get like 800K views. You got clapped because you're a bot. If your knowledge of the world, if your understanding of politics comes from watching slop tubers, I'm going to keep it real with you. You're not going to make it. You're going to keep moving around this world, confused at all points, being like, why are things happening? You're like Play-Doh. Your brain is mush, malleable, easy to form. Let me unlock your consciousness, chatter. Sadly, you get too emotional for political streaming. Okay, go promote more terrorism. It's so easy, though. Such an easy bag. You can't take any criticism. I think if this is your criticism, you and I have a very different understanding of criticism. Perhaps you and I might have a disagreement. But that's not criticism. You and I can have a disagreement on maybe comprehending why people choose to resist militarily against illegal and unjust occupation. But you just immediately default to, oh, you're promoting terrorism. You're promoting Israel as the greatest terrorist there is in the region. Far worse than Hezbollah or Hamas or any number of different militant groups. Also, you started the conversation by saying you're gay. I don't think that's criticism either. Bro in YouTube suburbia saying bag. You came in saying I'm gay and that I promote terrorism. And then you were like, wow, you really can't take criticism. I really hope for your own sake that you are actually just simply 14. Yeah, you sound way too emotional right now. I know. My emotions are flowing through me. I really hope you're like 14, 15, you know what I mean? And your brain hasn't formed completely yet. Because if you're over the age of 25 and you're talking like that, and if that's how you're constructing your worldview, tough. Things are not easy for you, and they're not going to get any easier. Anyway, dick riding.
Somebody they dance for you. You have a great time. And so, what happened to it? What ended this great civilization? The guy's gonna look up in the sky and he's gonna go, dick ride. We just couldn't get off a nigga's dick. We just hopped on everybody's dick, lost all of our objectivity, lost all of our critical thinking skills, and we just went with what was popular and what the next nigga said. And we rode dick into oblivion. I'm trying to stop that. Stop dick riding.
It's okay.
He's right.
Stop it. Stop dick riding. Get the information, use the information, and then look, we all been guilty of it. Some people, hey, Van, you be the first. Stop. Everybody. No dick. Higher learning is a no dick riding zone. Is it like, stop dick riding.
He's right. Hassan's been going to therapy. He sounds grounded. No, man. I've just been touching grass and touching pavement. I've been going outside. I'm in China. Having the time of my life. Anyway, we got here because this man had the audacity to say such a thing.
It's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and is why we continue to win.
I'm going to run it again.
What do you make of Donald Trump's birthday note to Jeffrey Epstein?
Donald
that was
Trump
very friendly
is the
and seemed
greatest
to
thing
suggest.
since sliced bread, and is why we continue to win. There's going to be smoke. There's going to be smoke and fight, and you're going to spin the truth. You're going to tell downright lies.
Is the note a lie?
Lies
Is the birthday note a lie?
about Donald Trump, and it's shameful.
Is the birthday note a lie?
Some of you guys should get counseling. You need help.
Wait, was the birthday note a lie?
You should get counseling.
Was the birthday note a lie?
I believe if you probably got some help.
Yeah, he's right. You suck. You're right. Donald Trump is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Health insurance. I mean, we got to fix the health insurance, but there's probably some provisions in that health insurance that you guys could get some therapy. You guys need therapy. Go talk to a therapist.
Was the birthday note a lie? Was the birthday note a lie?
From an average viewer, you look the happiest you've been in a while. I am. With the exception of like the first 25 minutes when I start the broadcast at 5 a.m. and people are yelling at me and I have no capacity to deal with it appropriately. And I just freak out and start yelling back. I'm pretty happy here. Bro's going reverse cowgirl on it. He is blowing bubbles. He's blowing bubbles on it. It's unacceptable. You can't be doing all of that outside. This shirt is so fire. Check the netizens in the comments. What netizens? Hi, Will. I'm a viewer from China. After watching your live streams these days, I find you a really warm and kind person. You always give suggestions to care about others during the live streams, which many viewers have noticed and praise you for in the comments. Hope you enjoy your trip to China, and I also hope you can visit more cities and even villages with unique scenery next time. I think you'll like them too. Shishi Lauber. This is going to be so fun when they jump ship. I'm praying for it. I don't think they will. How much do you think a trip to China of 2 weeks for an average worker could cost? I think the most expensive part about a trip to China is the ticket. Once you're in China, everything is cheap. We eat so much. If you eat mostly Chinese, like if you eat local food here, like a fat meal is like $7. A fat meal for like 4 people is like $7. Flight is really expensive. Getting here is really expensive. Everything else afterwards is not. Hotels are pretty cheap. Unless you do what we're doing and get like a luxury hotel and a suite and stuff. Hotels are pretty affordable too. Everything is very, very affordable. How much did the KFC cost? I don't know. I guess I can look it up on my Alipay, but I'll swim. Okay, good luck. I don't know. You're spending $2,000 on clothes. What? Oh my God. The chatter's doing a callback. Isn't this everywhere that's not Europe? Like South America is the same as well as Africa and most of Asia? Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much everywhere you go. Your LA pricing is showing. Wait, what? My LA pricing is showing. Guys, China is notoriously affordable. What are we talking about? Like, no, it's not even the currency exchange rate. It's just like straight up. Things are just cheaper here. What the? How are you arguing with me on this? I don't understand. I don't understand. And not totally true. I've been there 2 times and am American. Affordable for Americans. Yeah, I'm answering from the perspective of an American. An 80 USD hotel in China is cheap for Americans, but not for Chinese people. Dog, do you think there was a dude from Guangdong province asking me about how affordable a trip to China is? Do you think we're like, hey, I'm actually in Chongqing right now. How affordable is a trip to China? No, it's a Westerner asking, it's an American asking me how affordable it is. How do you put up with this shit for real? We're cutting this out of woke too, ain't we? No, that chatter wasn't even being woke too. He was just trying to be annoying. These chatters are clueless. Japanese society has a currency collapse problem, which is why exchange rates are so good for Americans while economic conditions are not so good. China is an entirely different story where they have truly abundant production. So across the board, the prices in general are just hyper affordable. Yes. Like I'm not speaking on the hotels for the average Chinese person, but food in general is affordable for the average Chinese person, as well as hyper affordable and super cheap for Westerners. Is chat just trying to gaslight before HasanAbi wakes up? Yes. Abundance mentioned. I mean, China is low-key the most abundant country on the planet. Hasan, where is your dog at? Not with me in China. Wow, you really love it when they disregard IMF laws, huh? Wow, Hasan, your LA is showing you're American. I thought this was a white Chinese stream. It's all that dang currency manipulation. Wow, you really love it when they disregard IMF laws. I actually do unironically love it when countries disregard the IMF. Yes, I do. You're right. I do actually like it. If this is what you get when you disregard the IMF, then yeah, great. It's proof that that works. I saw a video they had a price war on lattes. Since then, most of them are 9.99 yuan. Less than $2 is truly cheap there. Yeah. The cheapest bowl of noodle I had was 50 cents in China. Insanely cheap. Also, I had a 15 cent mapo tofu with free rice refill. It was in Fuzhou. Be honest, you had KFC in China more than you have in total in America? Yes. The White House has just called a lid, meaning there are no more public events expected, with no word on whether President Trump signed the Epstein bill today. Interesting. Anyway, let's see what my queen, Jessica Escape from Tarkov, had to say about the Epstein stuff on the Fox 5.
But this idea that the Epstein files is going to be reframed as a Democratic hoax is never going to work. The American public is not cool with it. What does he have? Trump has a -39 approval on handling the Epstein files, and only 45% of Republicans even approve at this point. The narrative about Hakeem Jeffries, everyone at this table knows how fundraising emails work. So that email was from someone named Lisa Rossi, who's from a random fundraising group called Dynamic SRG, asking if Epstein wants to go to a generic DCCC dinner that Obama and Jeffries were going to be at. There was never any meeting. There was never any donation. And he appears one time in the Epstein files. By the Miami Herald's count, Trump is mentioned over 1,000 times in the latest tranche that just got out. And people are not going to forget that in 2002, for instance, Trump said, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with." It's even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. I have never alleged, and I am not alleging now, that Donald Trump has done anything untoward with an underage woman. But if you want to be throwing around single emails from a random fundraising group to try to make Brooklyn Barack look bad and not acknowledge how many times Donald Trump is mentioned in these files, you're just going to look dumb. And I would encourage everyone to not look dumb.
But it's other people mentioning him. It's not his fault when people want to get him.
I just read a quote.
So that
Is other people mentioning him? Yeah, how about is Donald Trump mentioning Jeffrey Epstein? Like, it's not just other people mentioning him. It's Jeffrey Epstein mentioning him. You have to say it's other people mentioning him because you can't say it's actually Jeffrey Epstein directly mentioning him while talking about their personal relationship. And not only that, but it's also Donald Trump mentioning Jeffrey Epstein. It's not... It is kind of crazy that they're even trying to tackle the Epstein stuff by bringing up Democrats in this way. And if you're going to bring up Democrats, if you are going to bring up Democrats, you know, Hakeem Jeffries is probably one of the worst ones to bring up because he's too new on the scene to have been around and embedded with the Epstein stuff. He's a relatively green politician on the national stage. Yeah, talk about Larry Summers, a prominent Democrat, or Bill Clinton, you know? Simply coming in with Hakeem Jeffries is probably the worst thing you can do when your guy is insanely compromised.
but other people have mentioned it to stop him. They're like with the other person. They were all trying to stop Trump.
Why did he want the files to not come out this badly? Why? Just tell me why.
Why do you always fall for this stuff is the bigger question.
Happening again. This is Russia, Ukraine, everything.
I don't think this is the...
Have you covered the New York Post tweet about Epstein? They upgraded his egg into a lemon. Yeah. Oh, here is the two things about China. Ben Norton. The median income in major Chinese cities is higher than top cities in Latin America and even much of Central and Eastern Europe, but Chinese cities have some of the world's most affordable utilities because they are state-owned and provided as public goods, not for profit. Did you guys skip the Great Wall? Yes. China intentionally popped its housing bubble to make homes affordable for the average people to live in, not speculative assets. China restricted lending to real estate and increased loans for high-tech industry. The U.S. did the opposite after 2008. It reflated its housing bubble. Of course, there are certain parts of China that haven't been so fortunate. And I am, of course, talking about Hong Kong, which is where we're going later today. Anyway. Little did she know the new information was among the files on her desk. Yeah. Nicki Minaj was at the UN. Are you flying? Yeah. This guy, Joshua Reed, hates me, but let's see this clip. The Republicans are also in a messaging crisis. It's not just Jeffrey Epstein. Turn on the noise gate, please. It's on. The noise gate is on. Unfortunately, while it is on, it's not working. I don't know why. Like, it's off right now. Noise gate is off right now. And it's on right now. And you can still hear it. So it's not working. Unfortunately. I heard they can build a wall with all the bricks you... is the plugin set to bypass mode? No, I don't know what it is. It just happens. It's fine. Noise gate is overrated. I like hearing the ambient sounds. Good. What is this guy saying? Bring up Larry Summers. Larry Summers is a Chinese spy. What's your opinion on Xi saying Xi Jinping's ideological opposition to expansive social welfare policies he believes create lazy people and encourage laziness? I'm not familiar, but that is very American. It's a very American attitude to have. But also, the reason why I won't address his opposition to welfare is because I'm unfamiliar with his opposition to welfare. But welfare can mean a million different things. Do you mean direct payments for people who are not working? Or do you mean disability payments? Do you mean retirement funds? Do you mean pregnancy leave, for example? Like, there was a person I was talking to that said that in China they have maternity pay. Like, when you're on maternity leave, you get paid. It's actually a tiny number. It's like a tiny monthly payment. It's not super consequential. But even then, the very fact that they even have maternity leave and maternity payment itself automatically puts it in a much better, automatically puts like Chinese welfare in a much better place than American welfare. Do you see what I mean? Because we don't even have federally regulated, federally mandated maternity leave in the country, let alone payments on top of that. You know? The elderly do not have free health care. That I also don't know enough about. But from what I understand, the healthcare aspect is one of the only instances that I think there's like, or not one of the only instances, but there's definitely a room for more development and more improvement in general. A lot of people don't know this, but the Chinese healthcare, I don't think they don't have free healthcare. It's unimaginably affordable. It's like $1 or whatever. It's super, super cheap. And not just for like foreigners. It's super cheap for Chinese people too. Having said that, there's definitely room for growth there. And when I say affordable, I don't mean like there is virtually no barrier of entry for healthcare affordability in the United States of America. The affordability barrier is a way to avoid rationing healthcare, or rather, it's a way to ration healthcare by who can pay for it. If affordability is not a barrier of entry to healthcare in China, is not used as a barrier of entry into getting the necessary healthcare coverage you need. Are you homesick as I miss my friends. I miss Kaya. I miss my family. I do miss my home a little bit, but I am actually more sad. I'm sad that we're leaving China soon. You get free medical in your province, registered to the hukou, but then outside of that, it's private and not free. If they need surgery, it's not affordable. China hates welfare addresses, please. Chatter, I already told you, I'm not familiar with what you are referencing as far as welfare. And as far as those attitudes goes, I will look into it and I will address it. Okay? I suspect that you have a much more negative opinion than you're letting on. And you're trying to lean into that right now. Every day we are live on the broadcast. People come in and try to do a name 10 things you hate about China right now. Okay? Overactive thyroid taking all of their thinking calories. Why are chatters trying to get you in a gotcha moment? There are a million different reasons for it. But I think one of the major reasons for it is that I think a lot of Americans are suffering. Or not even just like, I know a lot of Americans and a lot of Westerners are suffering in general. And when they see a country doing well, a country that they've been told is like an evil country, a foreign adversary, when the reality doesn't match their expectations or what they've previously been taught, they have a unique moment of crisis. And in that unique moment of crisis, you can do two things. You either go back to the drawing board and you say, hey, perhaps I was wrong about my previous suspicions. What I was led to believe was maybe not the entire story. Maybe I should engage in more nuanced thinking. Or you just shut that part of your brain off and say, no, I mustn't think critically here. I must instead find reasons as to why the situation is actually bad. Hold on. Out of focus. Okay, that's better. And I think a lot of Americans do. I think a lot of Americans do the no critical thinking route, no nuanced thinking route, or a lot of Westerners do. Obviously, many in this community have been like, maybe it's not as bad. The cities look clean. How do they compare to New York or Chicago? Oh, I mean, they're super clean. How are the soup dumplings? Incredible. I think the Don Don noodles are the best. Why are you avoiding my question, dog? Read this message, please. Thoughts on Salvador Allende and Chile's history. Really curious to know your take. I mean, that's crazy. I can't do that right now, but yeah, Pinochet. Compared to Vietnam, what pops out? Who's doing the Communism Project better? I mean, I haven't seen Vietnam personally, so I can't make that comparison yet. Also, the Bureau of Labor Statistics now says it won't release a full U.S. jobs report for the month of October as of 5 hours ago. Instead, the agency said the October payroll data will be released along with a full report for November. An unemployment rate for October will not be included in those figures because the data could not be collected, the BLS said, citing the shutdown. Wow. Very cool. Very normal. Definitely a good sign. Seems good to me. Please read my message. I'm trapped in a well, and your Twitch chat is the only communication I have with the outside well. Please send help. The water is up to my waist now. Good luck, chatter. Yeah. No, it's because the payroll data is too good. Hey, guys, how about we don't think negatively? How about we think positively about this? What if, hear me out, what if the payroll data is too good and we don't want other countries to get jealous, right? What if we're winning too hard and Trump actually doesn't want to release the information about how hard we are winning so that, the Democrats don't look too bad, right? Like, because they are, what if the Republican Party is actually just as considerate of the way that the Democrats look as the Democrats are of the way Republicans look? What if that's the reason? You guys always want to think negatively. But I urge you, for once, to think positively. Yeah, the United States is too hot. It's so hot that other people get jealous, and then they want to attack us. And I think our glorious, dear leader, Donald Trump, expertly has decided to control the narrative and to ensure that other countries do not have negative opinions about us because of their jealousy, because we are so hot from the standpoint of hotness. Some might say the hottest. Okay? That's what I think. Anyway, let's take a look at what Fox News is saying about affordability.
Budget. You need a plan. Also, remember, adults don't need gifts, okay? Focus on the people in your life who are age 3 to 18. Grandma doesn't need slippers. If they don't live by you, don't get them a gift. Now's not the time to spend and break the bank sending packages across the country, Dana. Focus on the people in your life, ages 3 to 18. That's my...
Wow. I mean, that's good. They are promoting being frugal as a value, as a virtue, and Americans need a lot of that. Okay, Americans need a lot of that. I think it's good. It's good. It's not a bad thing. Okay, who needs Christmas gifts anyway? What are we doing? This is Christmas is a hyper-consumerist holiday, and I think it's good that they are promoting a significant scale back of gift giving. This is yet another thoughtful instance. Everything is fine. Everything is good. They're basically saying, share experiences with your loved ones. You know, your presence should be the greatest present. Now, I think this kind of commentary, all jokes aside, this kind of statements coming from Fox News is a red alert, okay? This is orange level terrorism threat. Do you understand? Because, like, the only thing that Americans have is treats. And now these guys are basically saying, like, hey, we might be in a recession. It's not looking too good. Maybe you should scale back on your treat giving and your gift giving. That is the greatest red flag, and perhaps one of the worst things that you can tell an American, because as I've said over and over again, the only thing that an American has is affordable treats. If you take that away, the entire social fabric unwinds. There is nothing holding us together at that point. I also personally love this because as a woke anti-Christmas warrior who has fought numerous fronts in numerous battles year over year in the war against Christmas, the Republicans have basically gifted us the ultimate victory. As you guys know, I love fighting in the war. I love waging war on Christmas. And here are the Republicans saying, let's just cancel Christmas. Very cool stuff. I like seeing this. Where can this go? What do you have? What do you have? If the jalapeno poppers are too costly, what do you have? As an American, I mean it seriously. What do we have? If we don't have affordable health care, let alone free health care, and we don't have affordable housing, wages are shitty, stagnant, people who lose their jobs can't even fathom getting a new one. What the f*** is there left? What is there left other than being able to take on debt to purchase Domino's pizza on your applications, on your Uber Eats? Someone send me that again. I need to see it again. The Chinese netizen eating Coca-Cola, drinking Coca-Cola. We need to rewatch that. Defaulted on my burger loan. Here it is.
Breaking news from the United States of Israel. Donald Trump forced a Coca-Cola company to use real sugar in Coca-Cola. Meanwhile, China built another 7,000 new bridges. I heard it from HasanAbi. He's traveling in China right now. But I mean, who cares about the fucking bridges? It's so boring. The great people in the United States of Israel, after they paying a lot of tax, when they're hungry, they can just drink a bottle of Coca-Cola and watch Netflix. That is democracy. That's how fancy it is. You know, that's capitalism. When you compare to capitalism, compare to democracy, China just look like an old nerd. Oh my God, so boring bridges. I hate China. Breaking news from the United States of Israel. Donald Trump forced a Coca-Cola.
I agree. Seconded. This is a patriotic Chinese man who knows the complete dominance that the United States offers, okay? That's right. I'm glad that there's someone who understands. I'm glad that there's someone who understands that bridges are lame, boring, shitty, connecting people. Ugh, what are you going to do? Commerce? Who gives a shit? Okay? By the way, I'm not going to talk about this right now, but maybe when I come back, I will get into this a little bit further. But my Hao Peking character, the Chinese conservative, anti-woke conservative character, is actually unironically a real archetype here. And I found it out, and I found that out. And there is definitely, due to, just know that actually is a more real character than I previously thought existed in China. Like, you know how I have the Hank Pecker character, and sometimes I'll do like a Hank Pecker but Chinese, like someone who complains about like the government caring too much about minority groups in China. That's a real thing. No, I didn't Ryan Ruth it into existence. That actually is something that existed, and I did not know. I did not know that that was the case. They deadass think schools are making kids gay and piss on cat litter. No. That's not even what I'm talking about. Chinese netizens who are like brain rotted from right-wing Americans who think that like American school make you gay. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about straight up internally in like internal Chinese politics. There are unironically people who sometimes complain about the government taking a protective stance. There are unironically some Chinese people who are somewhat critical about the government taking a protective stance against the minority groups, which I will say contributes to the hog universality principle. Yes, my mother-in-law. No, it's so funny. I didn't realize that existed, but it does. It turns out hog universality is real. No, I don't mean like the Shen Yun guys. I'm talking, is coffee good in China? Coffee is excellent in China. Massive coffee culture here. Also, for the record, I mean, I briefly brought this up in the Chengdu Panda place, but China and America, as far as their like similarities goes, Chinese people and American people have a lot of similarities, and I don't think either side would acknowledge that or even appreciate me saying this, but I mean this in a nice way. But as far as like, they're a pretty small minority, but yeah, I told you back when you first made up the character that it was a real thing. Yeah. L. Piker? No, I'm serious. Like, whether it be the cities having, the cities are all obviously full of public transit, but like there's still a shit ton of car reliance within the infrastructure itself, something that I brought up. And it's also a proclivity towards consumption that Americans have as well. I'm telling you, Chinese people and American people share a lot of similarities. They are significantly closer in their cultural attitudes than you would think. Not even a joke. There was no coffee culture in China 10 years ago. Everything was about tea. No, because Chinese people are very they're Ameriboos like I am, you know? So I understand that. Like they look to American culture as a positive. Like the anti-American commentary is like a relatively new phenomenon from what I understand in China, as far as like not having a lot of reverence and respect for American brands and institutions is a relatively new thing. And I think it's partially because of China's rise as a recognized global hegemon. It's like the last decade attitude shift. But overall, throughout the history of the PRC, I think that Chinese people have always looked to the United States of America with great respect and also with great reverence and also with a lot of want. And the similarities are pretty obvious. I mean, you look at the Chengdu Panda conservation area, and there's a movie theater. They're doing America better than us, is what I'm saying. Like, you go to the zoo in America, and there's a Starbucks in the zoo. There's a KFC, a McDonald's in the zoo. There's like a million different restaurants in the zoo. That's the most American shit I ever seen. I don't know. I can't like explain my thoughts as well, but there is a lot of there are a lot of it's like you're going to a theme park. Yeah. Could you explain the Henry Kissinger thing from today? From yesterday? Yeah, of course. I've talked about it a lot. when Henry Kissinger passed, China was one of the only countries that openly came out and mourned Henry Kissinger. And it's probably the only country on the planet where that's appropriate, because Henry Kissinger and Nixon recognized the PRC, the People's Republic of China, as opposed to the previous formation was a recognition of the Kuomintang-backed Republic of China that was that had escaped to Formosa, now known as Taiwan, at the time, in the aftermath of the Civil War and also the Japanese the liberation from Japanese imperialism. That is where, like, basically, Kissinger opened China up, openly recognized China as the China that we know today. Why would Kissinger support communists? The fuck? Realpolitik, number one. Number two, anti-USSR play. Trying to take advantage of the Sino-Soviet split. Yeah, it was anti-USSR. Yeah, Kissinger is credited for allowing PRC to normalize relationships with the United States and the rest of the Western world. And it played a big role in how the People's Republic of China exists today. That's why I sometimes jokingly reference Nixon as a Maoist. That's part of the reason. That and the EPA is the reason, are some of the reasons why I say Richard Nixon was a secret Maoist. Did you ever explain that to Penny? What? That most people outside of China think Henry Kissinger is an evil demon, including Americans? No, I didn't. I think Penny is not very into politics at all. I'll be honest with you. She didn't even know the 5 values. And I think that's because people in Chengdu are just chill. They're chill like that. That has also been a really interesting thing, though. Like, every province and every major city is entirely different. Like, they have, like, it almost feels like the difference between Chicago and New York is less significant than the difference between Chengdu and Chongqing, okay? And that's crazy for me to consider because the distance is not that severe, but I guess it kind of makes sense because it's the same as like Birmingham and Liverpool, right? England is a much tinier nation overall than China, and yet there are ginormous differences and differences in dialect and differences in cultural attitude in different parts of England. You change zip codes and you barely can understand one another, right? And I think that comes from the fact that people have lived there for a very long time, right? And there is a long history. And I think it's the same with China. Because it's been around for thousands of years in some way, shape, or form, there is a lot of culture that has been built on top of the places that now exist. And it's really interesting to see that in a much larger country, and then compare that to a large country like the United States of America that was developed in an incredibly short period of time, as opposed to a place like China. They also used to be different countries that, by their power, that spoke different languages. Yeah. But like, think about it. That's what I found it so fascinating that we would go to Chongqing and they would tell me like there's an entirely different language. In Chengdu, there is an entirely different language that, you know, it's not just even a dialect. There's like almost an entirely separate language in all of these places. And it's crazy to consider because they're not that far from one another. They were under the same provincial government until recently, right? And proximity-wise, distance-wise, they're not that far from one another. Shanghai has its own language too, yeah. Cantonese will be slightly different from Mandarin, yep. Majority colonist population versus native population in the U.S. Versus England and China, exactly. That's a major reason, for sure. A settler colonial nation like a nation that was developed as a settler colony is going to have more uniformity in comparison to a country that is in comparison to a country that's like that became a nation state after, you know, hundreds if not thousands of years of you know, monarchic reign, feudalism, all that stuff. So tracing your ancestral lineage back to thousands of years in the same goddamn city or in the same province, you obviously develop your own unique version of your own unique language, your own unique history, your own unique mythology, something that Americans can't necessarily do because America's a settler colony. It's the same with Australia, right? It's a lot more uniform in places like the United States of America. But I think that's also part of the reason why, and it could be a benefit, I would say. It's also part of the reason why, like, America is so open towards migration. I think integration into America and American culture is far easier than a place like Japan or even a place like China. It's far more diverse in the way that we understand it, diverse in terms of like ethnicity and nationalities. Because China is obviously also very diverse, but it's so vast and so large, and there's so much internal diversity. There are 56 federally recognized ethnicities in China, each with its own entirely unique language, not including subgroups of the dominant Han people and the hundreds of smaller tribal minorities. Yeah. 2,800 years ago, emperor united the writing system and measurements. That's why we recognize him as the original emperor. Chinese have been moving around Southeast Asia for a long time too. Indonesia has a big ethnic Chinese population. Yeah, of course, that too.